Βγαίνουμε από το πρόγραμμα και πριν σας ρωτήσω για το τι λέτε εσείς για μια Ελλάδα εκτός προγράμματος, θα ήθελα να σας ρωτήσω τι πιστεύετε ότι λένε σήμερα οι Έλληνες για σας.
What I think that the Greeks think of me, my best guess is that they're pretty divided. Some probably see me as the harsh guy that imposed austerity and difficult measures. And I hope that some at least see me as someone who helped to keep Greece inside the Eurozone and to prevent a Grexit.
You hope.
I hope.
Είχατε κάνει, θυμάμαι, κάποιες δηλώσεις που παρουσίαζαν τους Έλληνες ως ανθρώπους οι οποίοι ασχολούνται περισσότερο με το γλέντι, τρώνε, πίνουν χωρίς να λογαριάζουν. Μήπως ήταν μια πολύ επιφανειακή προσέγγιση αυτή?
No, you probably don't read German newspapers. It was an interview in a German newspaper in which I said that, and I strongly believe, that solidarity goes hand in hand with responsibility. If you build a strong welfare state, you must expect that people take their responsibility, pay their taxes, work if they can, contribute to society. During the crisis, a lot of harsh words were used from different sides about who's to blame for the crisis, who carries the responsibility. I don't think that these stereotypes are very helpful. I think we do need to make a tough analysis of what happened, to look critically at what happened before the crisis.
Θα μιλήσουμε λίγο αργότερα για το ποιες είναι οι αιτίες της κρίσης, γιατί νομίζω σε κάποιες συνεντεύξεις το τελευταίο διάστημα δίνεται μια πιο ολοκληρωμένη εικόνα για το τι είναι αυτό που οδήγησε στην ευρωπαϊκή κρίση. Πώς βλέπετε σήμερα την Ελλάδα?
Well, I'm an optimist, so I see light coming at the end of this tunnel. There is growth again. Unemployment is really going down. I think confidence is returning. Also confidence from the outside world, who's of course looking at Greece. Also looking at, should we invest our money again in Greece? So I'm optimistic, but I'm very much aware of how deep the crisis has been, how it's hit people, how years have basically been lost, certainly in the lives of young people that have been unemployed for so long.
Τα νέα μυαλά έφυγαν στο εξωτερικό, οι νέοι άνθρωποι έφυγαν στο εξωτερικό, σε μεγάλο βαθμό φτωχοποίηση της χώρας. Πιστεύετε ότι όλοι αυτοί οι αντιμετώπιση ήταν σκληροί, έγιναν κάποια λάθη που θα μπορούσαν να μην έχουν γίνει?
First of all, and I will continue saying this, to really understand the impact of the crisis, we need to look at what happened before the crisis. And in the 10 years before the crisis, not just in Greece, but certainly also in Greece, we had a massive credit bubble. Money was very cheap. It was used to raise wages in a very high speed. It was used for higher consumption, and wealth went up very quickly, but the real economy didn't see very much investments. So a lot of that money that came into Greece was spent, but not properly invested in the economy in Greece. And then when the crisis begins, already Greece has a massive deficit. Already the debt is far over 100%. That's where we come from. So let's not make the mistake by saying it's the program that caused the crisis in Greece. In the program, there were also mistakes. One was, and it was a mistake that was made everywhere in Europe, that the banks were fully bailed out. But in fact, what you do is you save the investors who've borrowed money to the bank or have bought shares of the bank. And of course, that was one of the reasons why the sovereign debt shot up during the crisis. I think that's a big mistake. Second mistake, I think, was made here in the Greek program, that this huge deficit at the beginning, Greece was made to get rid of that in a very short period. The third issue that I've mentioned before is that the programs were overloaded. There were so many measures, so many reforms at the same time. Even if you have a perfect, brilliant civil service, it will be hard to do all those things at the same time.
Το 2010, το 2011, όλη αυτή η κατάσταση αντιμετωπίστηκε από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση ως το ελληνικό πρόβλημα. Η δικιά σας θεώρηση σήμερα είναι πιο δίκαιη απέναντι σε αυτό που τότε ονομαζόταν ελληνικό πρόβλημα. Βάζει στο κέντρο της ανάλυσης προβλήματα που υπάρχουν στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Για παράδειγμα, υπάρχει ένα σοβαρό δομικό λάθος στην Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση, στη δημιουργία της. Έχουμε ένα κοινό νόμισμα, αλλά δεν έχουμε ούτε κοινή πολιτική, ούτε κοινή οικονομία. Έτσι, μοιάζουμε σαν να προσπαθούμε να κινήσουμε ένα αυτοκίνητο το οποίο δεν έχει τιμόνι και άλλους τους αδικεί, άλλους τους ευνοεί.
So, again, I would say that still the main causes of the problems were in national policies by national governments in the years before the crisis. Having said that, it was absolutely true that the European Union and the Eurozone was not prepared for a crisis, not at all. We had no funds, no institutions, no frameworks that would help us to get through this. And the first 4 years of the crisis were basically lost by arguing among ourselves who's to blame, who's going to take the responsibility, etc.
Η Ελλάδα όμως έχασε το 25% του ακαθάριστου εθνικού προϊόντος. Μπορεί να μην έχασαν από μια υποτίμηση όσοι είχαν λεφτά στα χέρια τους, αλλά έχασε ολόκληρη χώρα. Αυτή η καταστροφή μπορεί να συγκριθεί μόνο με μια πολεμική κρίση.
The crisis was extremely deep and long. And it's true that so many people have lost their income, have lost their jobs. And as you say, on average, 25% of that wealth has been lost. But again, if you look at the years before the crisis, wealth increased by 40% in 6 years' time in this country. So the contraction that we've seen, the reaction of the economy, was a reaction to that enormous bubble in the years before.
Αναλύεται μια συνταγή που υπήρξε, αλλά συστηματικά ο ευρωπαϊκός παράγοντας δεν αναφέρεται στην ουσία και στην αιτία. Η αιτία σε μεγάλο βαθμό είναι το παιχνίδι που παίχτηκε με τις τράπεζες. Μπροστά στη λογική ότι οι τράπεζες είναι ιερές γελάδες και αν πέσουν οι τράπεζες θα πέσουν τα κράτη, είχαν μια προνομιακή μεταχείριση. Ενώ η ουσία της κρίσης είναι ότι ένα ιδιωτικό χρέος, που ήταν το χρέος των τραπεζών που δημιουργήθηκε εξαιτίας του πώς αντιμετωπίστηκαν από τα κράτη και την Ευρωπαϊκή Τράπεζα, έγινε ένα δημόσιο χρέος. Πήραμε τα χρέη των τραπεζών πάνω μας, το δημόσιο το ελληνικό, και έτσι μπήκαμε σε μια βαθιά τρύπα της κρίσης, έχοντας ως απέτηση να πληρώσουμε το ιδιωτικό χρέος.
So this is true. The losses that banks made due to credit that was irresponsible were transferred to the Greek state, in other words, to the Greek taxpayer. And that's why in the future we should never allow that to happen. That's why we've now put legislation in place to make sure that if a bank suffers losses, then the shareholders and the bondholders should carry that loss.
Ανάμεσα στους όρους της λιτότητας που μπήκαν, είναι, αν θυμάμαι καλά, το για 11 φορές κόψιμο συντάξεων και μισθών. Απ' την άλλη μεριά όμως δεν υπήρξε καμία αυστηρότητα στο να απαιτηθεί άλλου είδους δικαιοσύνη, να κοπούν άλλου είδους δαπάνες. Δεν υπήρχε καμία απέτηση, για παράδειγμα, τα δύο κόμματα που τώρα είναι στην αντιπολίτευση, Πασόκ και Νέα Δημοκρατία, με πάνω από 350 εκατομμύρια δάνεια, να επιστρέψουν τα χρήματα που πήραν. Η αυστηρότητα, θέλω να πω, ότι είχε μία συνταγή. Πληρώνει ο κόσμος, ο μισθωτός, ο συνταξιούχος. Δεν πληρώνουν αυτοί οι οποίοι έχουν προκαλέσει την κρίση.
So I always have to be careful to get involved in Greek politics. So whether political parties have debts and to whom and whether that is justified, I don't know. And I won't get involved. But you're absolutely right. It's been very harsh. I think one of the things that, on the positive side, that we try to introduce in the program is to have a normal social benefit system in Greece, a minimum income for everyone to be able to sustain yourself. Because many families in Greece completely depended on the pension of grandmother or grandfather.
Θέλω να πω με την προηγούμενη ερώτηση ότι η αυστηρότητα που επέδειξε το πρόγραμμα προκειμένου να κοπούν κοινωνικές δαπάνες, μισθοί και ό,τι σχετιζόταν με το ευρύ κοινωνικό σύνολο, δεν είχαν από την άλλη πλευρά μια αντίστοιχη αυστηρότητα που αφορούσε τους φοροφυγάδες, αυτούς που έχουν κλέψει το ελληνικό κράτος. Βγήκε η λίστα Λαγκάρντ, η λίστα Φαλτσιάνι. Δεν μπήκε σε κάποιο πρόγραμμα η ανάγκη προκειμένου αυτά τα λεφτά να εισπραχθούν. Δεν μπήκε πουθενά ως ανάγκη απαράβατη το να εισπραχθούν λεφτά από τα κανάλια, τα οποία επί δεκαετίες λειτουργούσαν στην Ελλάδα χωρίς να πληρώνουν ούτε ένα ευρώ.
I disagree. I think we put a lot of emphasis and we spoke a lot about the tax system in Greece. I think a lot has improved. The government has done a lot of work on that, but tax evasion is still an issue. It's an issue throughout Europe, and also my country has a responsibility here to play. So I don't think that that has been ignored. The Lagarde list was a typical example. Again and again in the Eurogroup, ministers put emphasis on that and asked what's happening with that. Is the justice system or the tax authorities in Greece, are they going after those people to make sure they pay taxes? Again and again we put pressure on it.
Ξέρετε τι λένε στην Ελλάδα, ότι όλη αυτή η ανησυχία του ευρωπαϊκού παράγοντα είναι λίγο υποκριτική. Δηλαδή πριν από 2 χρόνια, 3 χρόνια θυμάμαι καλά, είχε συλληφθεί κάποιος καστανάς στη Θεσσαλονίκη γιατί πούλεγε κάστανα χωρίς να κόβει αποδείξεις, και αυτό είναι μια δυναμία που έχουν οι μικροί, δηλαδή να μην μπορούν να φοροδιαφύγουν και να εντοπίζονται, ενώ από την άλλη μεριά όλοι αυτοί που θα έπρεπε να πληρώνουν φόρους με την ανοχή της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης μεταφέρουν τα χρήματά τους μέσα από offshore. Ένα παράδειγμα είναι η ίδια η σύζυγος του Κυριάκου Μητσοτάκη, η οποία χειρίζεται τα χρήματά της μέσα από offshore εταιρείες, και αυτό είναι απολύτως νόμιμο, αλλά δεν ξέρω αν είναι και ηθικό.
I think the crisis has led to much more focus on international tax evasion, which is not just done by Greek elites, but elites from everywhere and big companies from everywhere. I think our thinking about this has changed, also due to the crisis and the many criticisms since the Panama leaks and the Lux papers and what have we had. So in 2016, when I chaired ECOFIN and the Eurogroup, we got an agreement on a big package on anti-tax avoidance directives. And on a number of topics we said, look, we must really work together to stop people hiding their money in the Bahamas or taking their money out of a country without paying the taxes.
Θέλω να μου πείτε γιατί πιστεύετε ότι απέτυχαν τα 2 πρώτα προγράμματα.
As I said, in the design of the program, I think mistakes were made. There's also another aspect, and this is true for some governments in Greece, the commitment to really start reforming, to really get into these vested interests, to these monopolies, to these protected groups in society. The commitment to do that was not very strong, and I'm putting it mildly. So while the Europeans were pushing to open up that Greek society, to create opportunities for everyone in society, the vested interests were still being protected. That's also part of the story of what happened. Why did it take so long in Greece? Maybe the motivation of some politicians wasn't very strong.
Θέλετε να πείτε ότι το πρόγραμμα, όπως αντιμετωπίστηκε από την παρούσα κυβέρνηση, είχε λιγότερους όρους παθογένειας, δηλαδή αντιμετώπισαν την διαδικασία με κάποια ειλικρίνεια, με καλύτερο τρόπο πολιτικά από τις προηγούμενες κυβερνήσεις.
If only it was that simple. To give you 2 examples, I think Greece could have been out of the program 4 years earlier. Greece could have left the program in 2014.
14?
Yeah. The economy was picking up, there was growth, unemployment was going down, people were bringing their money back to Greece in 2014. And then Samaras decided to have early elections. And everything destabilized, and people ran away and took their money out of the banks again. Then, of course, we had this famous first 6 months of 2015 in which confidence was dramatic, the economy collapsed, etc. And the government, after the summer of 2015, decided to work together seriously because they realized if we don't get it done now, this crisis, political and economic, will continue for year and year and year after year. So the cooperation with the current government has been very good and constructive. We don't agree on a lot of things, but there is a common goal, a joint goal, which was to get Greece back on its feet and independent again, financially independent.
Να πάμε σε μια στιγμή η οποία είναι ιστορική εκ των πραγμάτων για την Ελλάδα. Είναι η στιγμή της κοινής εμφάνισης με τον Γιάννη Βαρουφάκη όπου υπήρξε αυτό το, δεν ξέρω αν ήταν ακριβώς μια αντιπαράθεση, εν πάση περιπτώσει έτσι εμφανίστηκε. Τι έγινε εκείνο το βράδυ με τον Γιάννη Βαρουφάκη?
I got in touch with the new minister, Yanis Varoufakis, quite soon after the election. Spoke to him on the phone and said I would come to Greece, which in my opinion was a signal that we wanted to work with a new government. I'm a Democrat, so whomever is in government, we will work with them, even though Syriza, of course, heavily criticized everything we did in the Eurogroup. I came here, I met the Prime Minister, I met a group of ministers, I spoke quite long with Yanis Varoufakis in his office, and after that we had that famous press conference. That started very nicely with statements from him and from me, and then of course the Greek press started testing him whether he was credible, because he had promised that he would kick out the Troika, he had promised that there would be no more MOU, so what was going to happen? And on those questions, those critical questions from the Greek press, he went into campaign mode again.
Τι λέτε για τον Τζακαλώτο?
The personality couldn't be more different. Yanis Varoufakis became so popular and so big in the public eye that he became bigger than Greece, at least in his mind. And Euclid Tsakalotos, I think, whether I agree with everything he thinks, probably not. But he has always put the interests of Greece and the future of Greece first. So I respect that very much.
Ωστόσο, παρότι την 21η Αυγούστου ανακοινώθηκε η έξοδος από τα προγράμματα, η αντιπολίτευση επιμένει ότι αυτό δεν σημαίνει κάτι, η θέση της Ελλάδας είναι πάρα πολύ δύσκολη και ότι ζει μια συνεχή καταστροφή. Ασπάζεστε αυτή την άποψη?
I think both is true. It's an important historic and a symbolic moment. But the situation, of course, for the people of Greece in the streets, in their homes, hasn't changed in one night. That's not how it works. And it's also true that the possibilities for Greece to really expand and grow are still difficult. So still more work needs to be done to modernize society, to modernize the public sector.
Δεν λένε για δύσκολη κατάσταση, λένε ότι η παρούσα κυβέρνηση καταστρέφει την Ελλάδα. Είναι διαφορετικό, γιατί η κατάσταση είναι εκ των πραγμάτων δύσκολη.
Again, I don't want to get involved in the bickering of politicians. I think I've been speaking to Greek people in these days while I was here, and they are not very optimistic. And when you talk about why it is, because they are concerned about the Greek political climate. And I think they are a little tired of the very hard, polarized political debate. So I don't want to get involved in that. I hope that the new generation of politicians, like Mitsotakis, like Tsipras and others, put the interests of Greece first, and not the interests of interest groups or small parts of the elite or small parts of the business society, but the interests of the Greek society first. And I would hope that the new generation has a more modern approach to what the potential of the Greek society is.
Θεωρείτε ότι σε όλη αυτή την πορεία των 8 χρόνων υπήρχαν και προσωπικές απόψεις δικές σας, σκληρές, τεχνοκρατικές, που αδίκησαν αυτή τη χώρα, δημιούργησαν κάποιο πρόβλημα και για το οποίο θα θέλατε ενδεχομένως κατά μία έννοια να ζητήσετε συγγνώμη?
In my book and in this interview, we've spoken about mistakes that were made. And of course, the politicians that were leading, and I was one of them during 5 years, are responsible for that. The truth is that we had to take difficult measures to get out of the mess that we were in. So I can't apologize for that. I can't apologize for the difficult road that we took. I'm sorry if they took offense, but I'm not sorry that I took that approach.
Ειλικρινές. Εύχομαι να πάνε καλά τα πράγματα με την έκδοση του βιβλίου και στην Ολλανδία και στην Ελλάδα, και εύχομαι μετά από αυτά που είπατε η αντιπολίτευση στην Ελλάδα να μην σας κατηγορήσει για οπαδό του ΣΥΡΙΖΑ.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.